Good day, everybody. How are you all? This is Dr. Nandi. Today we are going to talk about probability of complement events. So let me share my screen with you. Okay. Says 2/3 of US homeowners have a GE appliance. Part A, in a randomly selected group of 3 homeowners, what is the probability that it should be all three? That all three would have an appliance made by GE. Okay. So, solution. Probability of owning a GE appliance is equal to 2 out of 3 is equal to 0.667. Okay. Now, our sample size, we are selecting 3 homeowners. So, you have to realize that whether the first 3 households, okay, whether the first household has a GE appliance will not influence let me erase that and write it carefully. Okay. Will not influence whether the second household has a GE appliance. So these events are independent. Then we will apply the probability, the joint probability rule of independent events. That is, probability all 3 households have GE appliance is equal to probability first household has GE. This is multiplied by probability second household has GE multiplied by probability third household has GE. So this is equal to 0.667 multiplied by 0.667 multiplied by 0.667. So which is 0.667. This is the exponent key. 3 in my calculator. So this is equal to 0.667 exponent key 3, and that is equal to 0.2967. So again, we apply the probability rule for joint probability rule of independent events. So all three households have G appliance, means probability of first household has G appliance multiplied by probability of second household has G multiplied by probability third household has G. These probabilities get multiplied because they're independent. That means whether the first household has G appliance will not influence whether the second household has G appliance, will not influence whether the third household has G appliance. Because these are independent events, so the joint probability that first household has G and the second one has G and the third household has G, all probabilities get multiplied. Okay, so the answer for part A is 0.29667. Okay, so let's create some more space for us. So now we will do part B. Part B says probability that at least 1 out of 3 households have G. Now we have to think about the probability of rule for complement events. So what is the complement event? Event for at least one. At least one means, which means 1 and above. 1 and above. 1 being the lowest. Complement event is none of the households have G. Have G. At least one has G. And so the complement event. So complement event is none of the households have GE. And we know we apply the complement rule, the probability rule for complement events, which states that probability of an event E is equal to 1 minus probability of not E or complement of E or complement of E. So thinking along those lines, so probability of at least one household out of 3 as GE is equal to 1 minus probability that none of the three have GE. But out of three, none of the three have GV means these are independent events. So 1 minus probability, because independent events, the probability, first household does not have GE, and second one household does not have GE, and third household does not have GE. So these three events, that the first household does not have GE, second household does not have GE, and the third household does not have GE, these are all independent events. So probability, and this can be looked up on as probability of A and B and C, where all A, B, and C are independent. Okay. And if I create some space, this is equal to probability of A times probability of B times probability of C. Okay. So in independent events, when we are dealing with independent events, the joint probability, each individual probabilities get multiplied. Okay. So we know probability that a household has GE is 2 out of 3 or 0.667. So probability a household does not have GE is the probability of the complement event, which is 1, which is 1 minus the probability household has GE, which is equal to 1 minus 0.667, which is 0.333. Now we will finally find out probability I'll change the color. Probability at least 1 out of 3 SG is equal to 1 minus probability first does not have GE, multiplied by probability second does not have GE. We are applying the probability rule for joint probability of and conditional probability or and, where the events are joined, because the events are independent and the probability of these joint events, each individual probability gets multiplied. Second does not have GE times probability the third does not have GE. So probability at least 1 out of 3 has GE is equal to 1 minus 0. This is minus, let me make it clear, not equal to 1 minus 0.333 times 0. The individual probabilities get multiplied because the individual probabilities of not having a G appliance get multiplied. So 0.333 or 3, and then is equal to 1 minus 0.333 exponent 3. So how to do it in the calculator? So in our calculator, we can do it like this. It is 1 minus 0.333 and then press the exponent key after that. This is the exponent key in the calculator, or the power key, 3. And that is equal to 1 minus 0.333 exponent 3 is equal to 0.963. That's your final answer. So let me summarize just quickly what I did in part B. I have to find out what is the probability that at least one of the 3 households have GE. So we have to think about the complement event for at least one. At least one means 1 or greater. Complement 1 or greater, complement of that is none of the 3 households have GE. Okay. So here we are going to then apply probability rule for complement event. So probability of an event E is equal to 1 minus probability not E or complement of E. So probability of at least one household out of 3 has GE is equal to 1 minus the probability of the complement event, which is 1 minus probability that none of the 3 households have GE. And these are independent events. So 1 minus probability the first household does not have GE, and second household does not have GE, and third household that does not have GE. So we apply the joint probability rule for independent events A and B and C. When A, B, and C are independent, is equal to probability of A times probability of B times probability of C. So probability house has GE is 2/3 is 0.667. So probability household does not have GE is the complement of that. So 1 minus probability house. So not having GE probability is 1 minus 0.667, which is 0.333. So probability at least 1 out of 3 households has GE is equal to 1 minus probability first does not have GE times probability second does not have GE times probability third does not have GE. So that is equal to, if we move this a little bit up, is 1 minus 0.333 multiplied by 0.333 multiplied by 0.333, or this is equal to 1 minus 0.333 exponent 3, which is 0.963. So I applied a lot of rules. I applied mostly the probability of complement event. Then also I applied the probability rule for multiplication of independent events. And all put together, we find the probability that at least 1 out of 3 has GE. I'll stop here today. If you have any question or comment, write me a note. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. If you like this video, please share with your friends. You and your friends, please subscribe to my channel by hitting the red subscribe button at the bottom right corner. I'll be back next time with another important problem, another solution. And you can please check out my channel, which has all kinds of math problems solved just for you, and you can download them when you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Take care. See you later.